All right, what's up, guys? Jackson Abe here today, and today we're going to talk about how to structure your warm-up. A few weeks ago, I made a video diving into the conjugate method that is on my YouTube page. And so I felt like it was kind of owed to my viewers to dive into the method a little bit more and kind of explain it piece by piece. And that way, this can kind of help you structure your own program so that way you can get the most out of your training. And so I kind of felt it was necessary to start with your warm-up because, in my opinion, the warm-up is the most important part of the workout. If we're not priming our bodies, if we're not getting our mind ready to do what we need to go do in the weight room, we're not going to get the most out of our training. And so without further ado, we're just going to dive right into how I structure my warm-up and how you can structure yours moving forward. And so I base my warm-up off of Matt Wenning's Wenning Warmups, as well as Dave Tate's warm-ups that he has a video on his Elite FTS YouTube page. I've kind of combined the two, and so I'll dive into each separately real quick. And so Matt Wenning's Wenning Warmups, basically he picks 3 exercises and does 4 sets of 25 per exercise in a circuit style form. This tackles a little bit of GPP and conditioning, and then we'll get into why he does such high reps as we move forward. And so in Dave's warm-up video, he talks about how when he has lifters come out to the Elite FTS facility, he takes them through a similar warm-up regardless of their goals, because he knows that a lot of times these things just tend to get neglected later on in the workouts, especially if our main work is pretty strenuous. And so he throws these in the warm-ups, and so things like face pulls, band pull-aparts, glute ham raises, reverse hypers, hanging leg raises. He has everyone kind of do a jumble of those things until they feel warm, and then he moves them into their main work. So as you can see, there's similarities with both styles of warm-ups, and so I've taken a combination of both and structured them into my own kind of warm-up. And so the structure of it pretty much is simple. It looks like this. You pick 2 to 3 exercises, looking to do 3 to 4 sets of 20 to 25 reps. And so, like I said, you do this continuously in circuit style fashion, and it tackles a little bit of conditioning without having to do a ton of conditioning work at the end as well. And so the purpose of this is we want the low intensity with the high reps, and so or high volume. So the volume essentially means the reps that we're going to be doing. That's why we're doing 20 to 25. We want that number pretty high. As for intensity, the weight that we're using, we don't need a ton of weight with this. We're not trying to go balls to walls. We're not trying to get all jacked up. We're just trying to do enough to prime our muscles, prime our minds to get ready to do what we need to do in the gym. And something that I learned recently from the podcast that Matt Wenning was on Dave Tate's Table Talk, which I will link in the description if you want to go listen to that video. He talks about how the high reps are intentional because those high reps condition the tendons, ligaments, cartilage in our joints and stuff like that. And so it's really imperative that the weight stays low enough so that way we can ensure we are getting the reps in our warm-up that is necessary to produce that adaptation. And so here is my warm-up. Like I said, I've kind of taken pieces from both of their warm-ups and put it into my own. This is the structure, and then this is what mine looks like. So I start off every workout with band pull-aparts. I usually do 100 of them because I know it's going to hit my rear delts and get my upper back going. And those are 2 weaknesses that everyone has and that everyone needs, primed before a workout, whether lower body or upper body. And then usually I move into something that's band specific. So if I'm doing upper body, I'll always do tricep pushdowns. If I'm doing lower body, I'll either do hip walks or I'll do hamstring curls with the band. And then this is where I take a piece from Dave's warm up, and I always do hanging leg raises before I start the rest of my warm up. Why? Because it loosens up my hips a little bit, tractions the spine, and then you get that direct ab work, getting your core ready to go before you start your warm up, and as well as the main work. And then I usually move into the 2 to 3 exercises to prep for my main movement, tackling weaknesses. That's something I kind of skipped over, but that I'm kind of bringing back in real quick. The reason why we also want to perform our warm-up like this is because it's very easy to tackle weak points, get a lot of volume in, which is going to develop, like I said, our GPP and our conditioning. GPP standing for general physical preparedness, how readily available we are. And so structuring your warm-up like this can build all of this at once. And so this is why I like the style of this kind of warm-up, and I think it's really great. This is what I do for myself as well as all my clients and my athletes. And I've had a few kids tell me that this year, when they're doing the track warm-up's a little bit easier. So clearly we're on to something. And so, I just wanted to give you guys a brief overview of how to kind of structure your own warm-up. And so you can set it up to reach your goals and, like I said, develop a little bit of that conditioning. A lot of people don't really like doing the conditioning work. This is a very easy way of easing some conditioning into your programming or your training because believe me or not, like this will take a little bit out of you. Like I said, low intensity, start a lot lower than you think you need to, because you can continue to build on it week after week after week. If you come out the gate swinging a little bit too hot, it's going to dampen some of your main work as well as your accessories. And so that's not the point. Like I said, we're just trying to prime our bodies and prime our minds for what we need to do. Now over here, I just have a couple options that I listed that you can utilize for your warm up. These are things that I do, as well as, like I said, for my athletes and my clients. And so for lower body, if you have access to a belt squat machine, doing stuff like belt squats, belt marches, belt good mornings, those are all great exercises to warm up with. Kettlebell swings are a big favorite of mine for athletes and clients, because kettlebell swings are great. Lunges, banded hamstring curls or banded good mornings, back extensions, glute ham raises, anything like that. Dragging or walking the sled is also great for lower body warm up. Moving into upper body, you have things like dumbbell press. And this is where it's great, because you have many different variations that you can utilize. You have a flat bench, incline, shoulder press, standing shoulder press, decline press. You can have a neutral grip. You can bring your elbows out. You can rotate your hands when you're pressing. And that's the purpose of conjugate, is we want to kind of always keep things fresh. We want to always be changing things around a little bit, keeping it within the same ballpark, but making those minor tweaks so that our bodies are constantly being, having to force through adaptation and stuff like that. And then when you have lat pull downs and tricep extensions, both of those are great, because along with the dumbbell press, there's a lot of options. You can widen your grip, bring it closer, reverse it, a lot of different handles, a lot of different cable attachments that you can utilize for both of those exercises. And those are great to throw in your warm-ups, because you can just knock out, 4 sets of 25 really fast on both of those. Other things like chest supported rows, push-ups, and face pulls are all great options for your warm-up as well. And then sled work for your upper body as well is a great warm-up. Get the heart rate going up a little bit of conditioning. The sled does wonders, so highly recommend. So this is just how I structure my warm-up, and this is how you can structure yours. I think it is great, like I said, for developing that GBP and conditioning and getting us ready to do what we need to do in the weight room, and that is what is most important. So feel free to take from this, start structuring your workouts and your warm-ups a little different. I'm gonna have more videos coming out, kind of diving into the max effort, dynamic effort, and accessory work, just so you guys can have a better understanding of that stuff. And then, like I said, better structure your own training so you can get the most benefits out of it moving forward. So thanks for tuning in. Like, share, comment. If you have any questions, shoot them down below. I would love to answer them. Love conversation. Love to help anyone that I can. So get after it today. Be great. So there was a few things that I kind of left out in the last section of this video. I really don't go back and edit things, but I was looking at it and realized there were a few things that I kind of left out that I really did want to hit on. And so I'm just going to make a little 2-minute excerpt to add on to the end of that video, and hopefully you guys can get some more takeaways from this as well. So the few things that I missed out on that I thought should have been included in the last video, what this looks like. And so here's just a couple breakdowns of some of the warm-ups that I perform or that I have my athletes perform. Something simple for a lower body would be like 3 rounds of 25 band good mornings, 25 belt squats, and then usually I do like 100 steps total of belt marchers, so it'd be like 50 each leg. And we go through that 3 times through. So you go from the good mornings to the squats to the marches, and then you repeat that through 3 times. Or something simple like 25 kettlebell swings and 20 goblet squats done for 3 rounds. That one's pretty trash. That just sucks to get through, no matter what kind of weight you're using. For upper body, something simple like 4 rounds of lat pull downs, and then like 20 push-ups or dips, if you're able to perform that many dips. Could also do bench dips. Or something like 25 chest supported rows and then 25 incline presses, or even flat dumbbell or standing shoulder, something like that. Those are just a couple examples of some of the warm-ups that I utilize. And something that else I wanted to hit on was make sure that what you're doing is going to be specific towards your main movement. So if we're going to bench, we don't want to just do 25 lateral or 3 rounds of like 25 lateral raises and bicep curls, because that's not going to prepare the muscles that we need to be ready to go when we start bench pressing. We need to do stuff like for our triceps, for our lats, upper back, chest, stuff like that. So make sure that, or even, for a squat day, we don't want to be just going to do calf raises and glute bridges. We need to be preparing our quads and our hamstrings. Hips are important, glutes are important as well, but we want to make sure those things are firing and ready to go. Some other things that I feel like missed out on, but that don't necessarily apply to everybody. But if you want to get a little bit more advanced, or you're a tactical first responder kind of job, and you enjoy working out, these are just some extra things that you could throw in or mix in with your workout. And this is where it gets a little bit spicy and where you can really get into some interesting modalities to include in your warm-ups that almost serve as more of a conditioning purpose. And these can technically be a little bit more higher intensity for said tactical or combat athletes. And so stuff like a skier, the rower, we call this the assault bike, the ass bike. I'm in my gym because the thing sucks. It's a piece of shit. I actually used it today. Fuck that thing. Whoever invented the air bike, assault bike, whatever you call it, it's terrible. But does wonders. It's really good for your cardiovascular system. It's very easy. You get a good workout on that thing in a very short amount of time. But hey, fuck that thing. Sledgehammer swings around the world. I really like those. Anything with med balls or sandbags or kettlebell circuits are really great that you can include, as well as jump rope. Really, like I said, you can kind of get creative with this. You know, if you whatever tools you have at your disposal or whatever you have access to, you can really make in your own warm up and do a little bit of circuit on your own. So get creative with it. These are just some things that I felt like I left out on the last little video. So hopefully this wasn't too long. Bingo. Be great.